A benevolent God would not ask such things of men!
Yeah, finally.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Be an adventure.
We need to fail down here so we don't fail up there.
This isn't just another trip, Neil.
We've got this under control.
You're a bunch of boys. You don't have anything under control.
3, 2.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Film Flashback. We're giving you the second out of 4 Halloween-themed film flashbacks. So in honor of First Man, which is coming out this week.
Damien Chazelle.
Yes, and the one and only Claire Foy, fresh off of her Emmy win, we decided to go back and watch Season of the Witch. So we're talking about Season of the Witch from 2011, not Season of the Witch, the third Halloween movie about masks, not that one.
Yeah, I had never heard of it. This is actually the movie. I feel like I've scrolled past this movie on Netflix thousands of times.
Right.
I actually thought it was alright. It's not as bad. I had very low expectation going in, but
It's alright.
Let's start at the top. Okay. We have Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman, and
Great.
They are fighting in the Crusades.
Yeah, for whatever reason, they are Americans in this movie. And interestingly, I mean, we've watched other horror movies recently.
On loan from like the United States, I guess, to fight in the Crusades.
Look at that rabble down there, Bayman. Just waiting to meet the Lord.
I pity any man whose last face they see is yours.
We would have made fun of them really badly if they were doing some other kind of accent and not doing it right. Frankly, I think that I bought Ron Perlman, even with his American accent. Nicolas Cage, he looked like he was struggling to not use contractions.
Very similar to, Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
But I never swindled anyone. I sold relics.
Oh, a fellow
He's
American.
American. Yeah. Pick him up.
Hey, all right. I know this guy. Hey, you from Southie?
Hey, my cousin lives in Southie.
That opening scene is one of the best scenes in the movie. When it has the 3 women.
Right.
And there's the old lady who
the bridge. That was cool.
And the one woman who's pleading and she starts confessing even though she didn't do it. And then they hang them all over the side. And they duck them into the river.
I feel like they got away from that because if they would have stuck with tonally with what we saw in that first scene, it was really spooky. The rest of the movie is not scary at all.
It really was spooky. And then the priest says, "No, you got to pull them back out. I'm supposed to read this incantation." And the old soldier,
Rory McCann, the Hound from Game of Thrones,
he goes,
They've been hung and drowned. That's dead enough for me.
the 2 main characters, you might call them, they're in the Crusades. They have a really sort of easy way to make them seem like real human beings after they've been massacring Muslims for like in a montage that goes on for minutes on end. All of a sudden someone
and having
says,
a great time, like
just
joking, like
yucking it up, talking about who gets beers afterwards. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, he accidentally kills a woman. And then he's like, that's it, I can't do this anymore, I'm out. And for whatever reason, Perlman's out too. And I'm like, you didn't even kill the woman.
Yeah, he just kind of jumped on the bandwagon.
The next thing that ends up happening is they kind of get roped in to this quest where they have to take a woman who's accused of witchcraft and take her on a long journey through the forest to, it's a monastery with a bunch of monks and priests in it, and they will judge her. And the reason why everyone thinks she's a witch is because everybody has the plague. The makeup in this movie is disgusting.
Yeah, everyone's got the plague, and it's disgusting. It looks so nasty, and in my head, I always go, I bet that smells terrible. Like, it's got to smell just off. There's a scene where Nicolas Cage walks into this castle, and everyone's dead. Everyone's dead. They've died of the plague. You lift up a blanket and see this dead couple, and I'm going like, listen.
What is that smell?
That's going to smell if there's a perfectly healthy person underneath. Anytime you lift a bed sheet up, and not only, there's 2 people that have just been rotting, and you know that's just going to waft in.
And they don't even react to that. They just kind of stare at it. Like, Perlman just goes, like, you would have smelled that 100 yards from the cabin.
Yeah, your eyes would have been watering. Like,
somebody should be vomiting in
the
corner.
Yeah.
Ooh, they're seasoning him.
There was one shot that was clearly not in a soundstage. They're in this forest. I'm like, okay, this maybe is not a soundstage. I'm glad they made it out of the soundstage.
Only Son, Jesus Christ.
The journey out of the South.
Will I make it? We don't know.
I was distracted for the entirety of the film by the fact that it was color graded so heavily.
Yeah.
I mean,
blues
there's
blues and oranges.
It's this thing. It's this blue and orange. You know, these opposite on the color wheel and the color grade.
So much so, there's. I think he was in a jail cell, and so you have the shadow in this, and literally his face is split in half with blue and then orange coming from the hallway.
Like it was face paint.
If I have any say in the matter, I prefer hanging.
So the point is, they have to take this woman, played by Claire Foy, and she is accused of being a witch, and most of the time she just looks absolutely pathetic. They got her in a cage that they're dragging around, and in a sense, you get the feeling that she's just a victim of circumstance, because when we use the term witch hunt still all the time, and it means when someone's accused of something that they didn't really do. And I think she was cast for her eyes. I'm not saying she's not a talented actress.
Yeah.
Not saying that. What I'm saying is it works because it makes all these men that are in the group, all of them individually, one at a time, feel bad for her for different reasons.
Yeah, and I feel like the group, I mean, again, I think maybe the reason it has the video game feel, you have Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman who are like the warriors.
You've got like the cleric, you got the priest.
Yeah, I mean, you have like this assembled random team. You have the young up-and-comer who's trying to make a name for himself who joins in.
Yeah, the wise old.
That's what I'm talking, like the old, been there, seen everything guy.
If we're gonna bother to talk about the plot of this movie, we might as well just say spoiler alerts
Yep.
right now. Woo! Every single scene in this movie feels like it's from a video game. Like, for example, the bridge scene.
I was going to say, the bridge scene, yeah.
We have to try to get not just everybody, but the horses and this big wagon with a supposed witch in the back across this rickety old bridge. It looks like out of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in the scene because as soon as they show up and look at the rickety bridge, you know they're going to get across it. Nobody dies.
Yeah. So the premise, they're moving from one point to another. They're traveling X amount of distance. And I was saying the whole time, like, how long and how hard it must have been back then to travel from, like, if you drive over to San Diego, we're in LA. Drive to San Diego, it's a couple hours. Imagine you have, like, a horse, and like, we wouldn't have necessarily any bridges or anything to climb, but, like, God, how long would that take? Walking.
Well, that was our joke. Like, eventually they get to the point where Nicolas Cage's character, he's so sick and tired of all the death, and Ron Perlman's character stops him. He steps in front and he points to the castle and goes, "Look how close we are." And we look at it and we go, "I don't know, man. That still seems kind of far."
Yeah, there could be another 8 bridges.
It could be 5 more bridges.
That'd be the worst thing. Nuts.
There's 2 packs of wolves and three trolls.
And something smells like shit.
Oh, that's all of us.
Sorry, I ran into orchestra.
So what did you think about the demon at the end? Surprised the witch is actually possessed, which we kind of saw
But not
coming.
a witch.
But not a witch.
That's actually the closest
Very misleading.
Well, no, it's the closest thing to a twist. Because actually one of the characters yells it out. Because they tried to do this stuff that's supposed to take care of witches. Like, he's reading the incantation, right?
Right.
That's out of the book, which is well set up because it's right from the very beginning. So that comes back at the end when the other priest is reading the incantation, and it doesn't work, and somebody yells out, "She's not a witch.
She's a demon. Try the
not
demon
a witch."
chapter. Yeah, well, he did this really cool thing. I don't know if I've seen this. Again, video game death, classic video game death. He takes, like, his wings and wraps them around Ron Perlman and just incinerates him.
Good self-sacrifice
Awesome,
death
yeah.
out of Ron
That's
Perlman.
pretty sweet. How will Ron Perlman die?
Self-sacrifice? This movie had everything in order to be a good movie.
I think the second act fell flat, pretty much. That bridge scene was like 30 minutes. Ultimately, though, I'd say it's a cool movie. I mean, it's fantasy, sci-fi. I wouldn't call it horror, because I don't think it's that scary.
I think it's a classic horror. So horror in the sense of the way horror used to be. It's like you would see Vincent Price in 1960 or something like that.
And we will sit in the hall where my forefathers sat and drink ale. Tell tales few men have lived to tell.
You coming on to me, Hellboy?
Keep it in your pants, Hellboy.
But I'm sorry. I mean, it's hard for me to recommend this to people.
I'd play the video game.
I give the lad a chance to retract the remark.
But in the meantime, we get to see our up-and-comer Claire Foy in First Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it takes you got to be pretty good to be interesting and not have much to do or say.
She sits in a cage the whole movie.
She's in a cage 99% of the movie, just staring out the bars with next to no dialogue.
And it works.
You know, it totally works.
She's interesting. You know, whatever. Go check it out. 2011 seasons of The
Probably
Witch.
still on Netflix.
For sure. It's been on Netflix since Netflix
Lifetime
was created.
deal, because no one else
Nick
wanted it.
So I'm Matthew. That's Nick. We'll see you next time on Film Flashback.
Handlebar.